Welcome to round 2, everyone, of September 25th, Star Wars Unlimited Locals Night at Valkyrie Vault in Brownsburg, Indiana. If you guys are looking to play some Star Wars Unlimited, there's no better place than Valkyrie Vault in Brownsburg, Indiana. Thursday nights, 6 p.m., $5 entry on most days. Do make sure to check the Discord to see if that is changing. That price does go up if we have pre-releases or drafts or anything else special. As well as you always walk away with your promo pack and a pack of the current set. At the time of the original recording, that would have been Legends of the Force. But anyways, we got 2 more JTL leaders for you all. We got Vonreg Data Vault against Boba JTL Yellow. Well, anyways, you know Boba JTL Yellow by now, folks. It's just indirect damage the game. Just do all the little ping indirect damage you like in your opponent's board state by dropping down a planetary bombardment. That's basically it. Once again, when you deal non-combat damage, you can tap him to deal 1 indirect damage to your opponent. You flip on 6, he's a vanilla for 7, and then he can attach to a vehicle unit. If the vehicle becomes a leader unit, when deployed as an upgrade, deal 4 damage divided. You choose among any number of units, and he gives a 4+4+4. But Major Vonreg Data Vault, that's the first time we're seeing this combination. Typically, Major Vonreg went with yellow, not really with Data Vault. So Major Vonreg states on his front side, action tap him, play a vehicle unit from your hand. If you do, give another unit +1/+0 for the face. So basically, you want to make sure you have another unit to play him. He flips 4/4, so he's one of those very fast flip leaders like Kazuto. He's a vanilla 2/5, or you can attach him to a vehicle unit. Again, the vehicle unit becomes a leader. And on attack, give another unit in this arena +1/+0. So basically, if he's in space, you can give another space unit +1/+0, or if he's on the ground attached to a vehicle, you can give that vehicle unit a +1, or a ground unit +1/+0. So basically, they're 2 space decks. This one just deals with a lot of indirect damaging and ping damaging, and this one is basically just a beatdown strategy. You're basically going to beat your opponent into the dirt with your space units by using Major Vonreg's skill. The one problem, like I said, Major Vonreg flips on 4, and he's a very telltale leader of, I'm at 4, I have a really good fighter, I'm going to flip, instead, I'm going to just nuke him off the fighter, nuke off your fighter, or I'm just going to use any upgrade hate card to get him off. So we'll have to see who will get it all here. As by the way, both our players are running the showcases of these leaders. I love it when I can get you some showcase leaders. So without further ado, let's get into game number 1. For game number 1, here we go. It looks like the Boba player is going to start off here. We're going to start off with a strike fighter in the sky here, and then we're going to go to the Vonreg side. Looks like we have a Kylo's TIE Silencer that looks like to be the only really play they could go to. It does have a Vulture Droid as well. Interesting. So he's running the Vulture Droid combo. So anyways, the Boba player is just going to take the initiative here with the strike fighter. Once again, it's a 0/3 that does have Overwhelm as well as does have Raid 3 on it. So we're just going to work off the Kylo's TIE Silencer, taking 1 overwhelming damage from the strike ship here, and then we're going to go for Major Vonreg's TIE Fighter, his own personal TIE Fighter, as well as then we're going to go for a droid missile platform. Once again, remember, Major Vonreg flicks next turn, and it's a really good thing to flip him onto his fighter, because then you can get its effect of overwhelm, because they'll have so much power, and then also because they will have so much power, does get the ability of Raid 2. So anyways, we're just going to see immediately Merc off of the droid ship there, and immediately be able to then deal with 1 extra 3 indirect damage, and then 1 extra little indirect damage from that. And then we're going to see the Slave 1 coming down, dealing 2 indirect damage to our opponent, because we do have the Boba Fett unit down on the board. So it looks like we had a daring raid flip over onto the droid missile platform. Anyways, then we're going to go for legal authority, immediately being able to get that Fett's fire spray immediately under it. So that's really nice there. And Major Vonreg is going to be able to not only give a +3 to that and give it a raid 1 as well. So we were able to get a 7 damage threshold there, which is really nice. Again, gains overwhelm because it has overseeded the power level, and as well as overseeding the power level 6, it also gets its raid 1 as well. So that's really nice there. Just a really big fighter. But again, Major Vonreg is so easy to know here, as we see another droid missile platform coming down to the board here. We're going to go for a Vanguard droid bomber, but there is no other separatist unit on the board, so we can't do anything damage wise. And we're going to go for the Zagarian Stop Hopper, and then another unit out there in space apparently outside of my area. As we're going to see Major Vonreg going to go swing again, dealing a whole bunch of damage. And I don't know what the other fighter was that got played out in the invisible land. Apologies, my camera, I guess, did not want to catch that at all. Sometimes the players play out of my camera range, and, you know, that's perfectly fine. So anyways, going to go for the Boba. We're going to clean up both of those. I think it was probably a Vulture Droid because it was 2 damage. So anyways, we're going to stay on target, and then deal again actually, it should be dealing, I think either 6. It deals 6 already, so I think it gets an extra +2. So that's 8 damage on the, or actually deals like 9. So anyways, it's just going to quickly be able to scoop up that game. It looks like the Boba leader immediately saw it. The JTL Vonreg leader basically just took that one there. So I'm not completely sure 100% who got that one. But nonetheless, it was definitely in the Major Vonreg side of the board here because of the Major Vonreg dealt a whole bunch of damage easily. And then I do not believe... Oh, actually, I guess they could have both crashed out. Oh, apologies. That's actually not a wrap-up. Apologies. That's Boba crashing into Major Vonreg to kill off Major Vonreg. Apologies, I thought that was a scoop up. No, that's Major Vonreg dying to Boba. So Boba crashed into it, and then crashed into it, and then killed off the Major Vonreg to bring back the Slave One. And then we have the Planetary Bombardment dealing 8 indirect damage because neither of the fighters on the board are capital class vessels. If you have capital class vessel, you get 12 indirect damage on these swings. So just a little bit of an interesting aspect there. So anyways, apologies. I thought that was a scoop up for some strange reason. No, that was Boba sacrificing itself into Major Vonreg to kill it. We're going to go for the Overwhelming Barrage, dealing, killing off the Slave One because of the 5 damage points, and then 1 damage going to the 𝐒𝐍𝐉𝐻𝐾 Starhopper here, which is going to be very interesting. We're going to go for immediately Cad Bane. Cad Bane is going to immediately be able to take off that Magna Guard there because, again, it's under that 7 health threshold. The +2 only gives it 6, and then it'd be technically down to 5, so there's no reason to keep that the Overwhelming Barrage there because, again, that ship is automatically gone, and we're going to go for 2 damage to the 𝐒𝐍𝐉𝐻𝐾 Starhopper. Anyways, it's going to be very interesting. It looks like, I thought for a second, the Major Vonreg side had actually gotten the win. Apologies for that one. That actually was a complete fault of mine as we go for a droid missile platform here on the Vonreg side. And then we're immediately going to be able to go for the Devastator to deal all 4 indirect damage onto the base. Because again, Devastator can direct the indirect damage however it wants to. As we see a Vulture Droid coming down to the board, as we see another Vulture Droid coming down the board. The Vulture Droids do allow for immediately... it's interesting. I guess the Boba side did not want to attack with the 𝐒𝐍𝐉𝐻𝐾 Starhopper. And maybe it had. Maybe it did. Anyways, we're going to swing in for 9 with the Devastator here. But this Swarming Vulture Droids get a +1 for each other Swarming Vulture Droid on the board. So the Vulture Droids do get are on 3 damage points each. But the problem is, I don't think there's a way to knock out that Devastator. That would have to he would have to throw all his things into the Devastator to kill it. Because again, the Devastator is a 9/6. So technically, both Vulture Droids could sacrifice to kill it, but that'd have to be just it. And then 𝐒𝐍𝐉𝐻𝐾 Starhopper, not mentioned that Cad Bane technically could try to go for the kill. So it looks like we're just going to see a Turbo Laser Salvo and another card there. It just looks like our opponent here, Vonreg, decided to see what the next top 2 cards were and win the game. The problem was that Cad Bane could technically swing, and your opponent can either choose to gain back the unit, which even if it does, the Cad Bane still swings in and goes for the damage point. There's not much they could have done anyways. The Cad practically won the game there, even if they... Because they'd have to sacrifice at least both the Vultures into the Devastator. Well, actually, they won't be able to sacrifice 1 Vulture, the Devastator, because then the other Vulture goes down to 2. They'd have to sacrifice a droid missile platform into that, and it'd be easy enough to swing the Targaryen into this, and then have the Targaryen do 2 indirect damage to something on the board, or sacrifice the 𝐒𝐍𝐉𝐻𝐾 Starhopper to the other Vulture droid to kill it off, and then deal the 3 indirect damage. Then deal the 2 indirect damage on death, plus the 3rd indirect damage from Boba Fett. So, a little very much interesting there. So, it really was not on the Vonreg side of it, even though I thought at one point it was on the Vonreg side. So, anyways, it's time to move into game number 2. All right, folks, here we go. Welcome to game number 2, as both our sides are finishing up sighting everything, or getting all their resources set. Anyways, we're going to see the Vonreg start off with a good old Swarming Vulture Droid, as the Boba side starts off with a good old-fashioned TIE Bomber. Again, does through indirect damage on the attack, as well as Boba's ability to give you an additional indirect. It's Major Vonreg's TIE Fighter coming down. Again, that's a telltale sign that you're going to flip over Major Vonreg. And we're going to use Major Vonreg's ability, because we played a fighter on the ground. We're going to be able to give that +1 over to the Swarming Vulture Droid, as the Swarming Vulture Droid is going to hit for 3 again. Remember, play a vehicle unit from your hand, give another unit +3. So we're going to go for a sneak attack. Ooh, sneak attack. The Slave One for 1 point there. Sneak attack reduces the cost of your ship by whatever you played out with by 1. So we're going to be able to do the 2 indirect damage to our opponent, and then we're going to be able to use that to immediately kill off the Major Vonreg's TIE Fighter there. So it's really nice, meaning that, of course, now there's only a Swarming Vulture Droid, which again, Major Vonreg can easily go onto as well. So anyways, we're going to go for Major Vonreg again, using the effect. We're going to play on another Swarming Vulture Droid to give that Swarming Vulture Droid a +1, as well as it's going to get its +1 for having another Swarming Vulture Droid on the ground. We're going to go for the Gorilla's 3 indirect damage. If any of that damage goes to the base, it immediately gets to reset itself. So that has to go first, and then we resolve the Boba trigger. So Boba's going to then trigger as well, giving 1 more indirect damage to the base. But anyways, we're going to go for 4 damage. We're going to knock out the TIE Bomber here, just so we don't have to worry about that. We're going to go for 2 damage from the good old Gorillas down onto the base here, so we can win for there, and then we're going to reset the board. All right, so here we go. Once again, both sides of drawing their cards, the resourcing here as well, trying to figure out what they all want to do here. Major Vonreg has yet to flip over, as well as the Boba, but then again, there's nothing really, as we're going to go for air superiority, because again, there are more air units in the sky, because more sky than our opponent, so we'll be able to do 4 damage to a ground unit here. We're going to go for Major Vonreg to immediately play out a vehicle unit and give something +1/+1 for the +1/+0. So anyways, we're going to go for a droid missile platform, and then we're also going to go for a strike ship on the Boba side of the board. We're going to immediately flip Major Vonreg over onto the Swarming Vulture Droid and immediately to swing 6 damage thanks to actually no, sorry, it's going to be 7 damage thanks to the extra +1 from the other Swarming Vulture Droid. So that's a pretty good swing there for Major Vonreg, giving also the additional +1 here as well. So it is going to immediately kill off the strike ship there as well, because again, the other Vulture Droid does get a +1 because there's the other Vulture Droid on the board. Again, that's a really cool thing about the Swarming Vulture Droids, is that you can get 15, as well as you can include 15 in even your Twin Sun strategy, which is pretty cool. Both sides have finished up. We're going to put down to the droid missile platform. We're going to go for, of course, it looks like we're going to go for marking off of those two off with the Boba effect. So that's going to kill off the Swarming Vulture Droid, and we're going to be able to then kill off the as well as kill off the droid missile platform, taking all the damage on Boba. And then we're immediately going to have the Major Vonreg knock out the Boba Fett here, so immediately be able to deal with all of that, as well as then the 3 indirect damage coming off of the droid missile platform on its depth. We're going to go for the IG-2000, but again, there's nothing really damaged, so its effect is useless at this point. So anyways, we're going to go for another Swarming Vulture Droid, then we're going to go for an open fire, immediately being able to murk off the oh no, sorry, that was a daring raid there, not an open fire. Otherwise, if it had been an open fire, that would have killed the IG-2000. So dealing 2 damage to IG-2000 with the Swarming Vulture Droid here. I guess no, they must have confused it for a daring raid, so it was an open fire. That's why I thought the art was an open fire. So anyways, we're gonna go for the Gorillas again. Gorillas to deal the 3 indirect damage to our opponent's base. 1 indirect damage coming down, and then 1 indirect damage from the Boba. So basically, it looks like 1 indirect damage went to the Swarming Vulture Droid, 2 went to the base from the Gorillas, and then we have the Boba Fett coming down as well. So we see the evasion control ship that gets raided 2 to all droids on the board, which a Swarming Vulture Droid is. So we're going to give Austin an additional +1, because we're just going to use the Victor Major Vonreg to play out the vehicle with the invasion control ship to get extra +1 to the Swarming Vulture Droid. So that was made a 5 swinging Swarming Vulture Droid. So now it's just a 4 swinging Swarming Vulture Droid. So we're going to murk off the Swarming Vulture Droid with the Devastator, and then deal 4 indirect damage, 3 remaining for the Devastator, 1 more from the Boba Fett, because again, all indirect damage can be directed to our opponent via the use of the Devastator, which allows you to assign all indirect damage. As we see an invisible hand coming down, we're going to be able to then look at the top, I believe it's 6 or 7 cards of your deck, and then you can play a droid with it, and then we're going to be able to go for the swing. Then we're going to play out the Swarming Vulture Droid, so it looks like we're going to, again, use the Major Vonreg to, of course, play out the invisible hand, and then give the +1 to the invasion control ship to do that. And then we're going to go for the 12 indirect damage, because, again, the Devastator allows you to assign indirect damage, so all 12 indirect damage goes to the base here. No response can be given to that, so that's going to be 12 indirect damage. That is going to be a scoop up there. That is going to be a win for Boba, as they are able to get the board state to enough to where everything basically goes to them. So, folks, that is a win for Boba Yellow, thanks to the power of planetary bombardment, allowing for the 12 indirect damage to be directed however the player wants it. It's a really nice card there, especially if you can get the Devastator out, keep the Devastator up, go planetary bombardment. If your opponent doesn't have enough ways, it doesn't have enough health, just shine all 12 indirect damage to their base, which in this case they can, and that just basically wins them the game. Major Vonreg was trying to get a comeback there towards the end of it because, again, now they had the evasion control ship to give a +2 to a rate to all their friendly vehicles, which would have been able to get down swarming vulture droids. Not mentioning the invisible hand was able to get maybe find more swarming vulture droids on the attack, which could have been easily be able to win this turn if they didn't have the planetary bombardment, or they didn't have the devastator to ensure that the planetary bombardment can send all 12 indirect damage into our opponent, into Major Vonreg's base. But nonetheless, Boba JTL Yellow continuing to show why it is considerably one of the strongest JTL leaders out there, as well as potentially being one of the very powerful leaders in the SEC meta, thanks to Top of the Summit, as well as 𝐂𝐐𝐬 being very good in this strategy, more specifically, especially Topple the Summit. So with that said, you guys let me know your thoughts down in the comments on the Major Vonreg Data Vault and the Boba JTL Yellow. Have you guys tried out either of these leaders before? What are your thoughts on Boba JTL Yellow going into the SEC meta? Like I said, I think it is placed to be one of the top decks of the format because of stuff like Topple the Spire being very strong in it. So be on the lookout for that strategy to come around, or actually any type of Boba JTL leader in any color to be running around quite interestingly around this format. I think the SEC's going to give him a very lot of power. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the decks as well if you tried them out. If I missed anything that the players could have done better, apologies for round one where I thought that there was a scoop up by the Boba player to go for the Major Vonreg side for the win. But nope, that was actually just a crash between leaders. But nonetheless, while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you get notified when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you next time on Mom Dragons TCG.